Let's take a closer look at the SRS. New for 2024 is this red and black color scheme that you see here. Now, importantly with the SRS, while it is a fully faired motorcycle, it does not mean it's a particularly sport motorcycle in terms of ergonomics. In fact, you'll find on the SRS, in comparison to the rest of the S line, the handlebars are actually a little bit taller with slightly more pullback. And the foot peg has a little bit more room in it as well. Pair that with a really sculpted seat and subframe, it makes this really approachable from a seat height standpoint. Now, a lot of people get concerned around the weight of motorcycles. And while this bike does weigh in at 518 pounds, you'll find that most people, when they swing a leg over the first time, are gonna realize because the weight is so centralized and down low with the power pack and the motor, you're gonna feel like the bike weighs anywhere between 70 to 100 pounds less than its actual curb weight. And so that's a really important thing to remember when you're shopping for one of these bikes. Now, along with that and the seat size of things, the SRS has a longer subframe than the rest of the S line, giving both the rider and passenger more room, more comfort. You can also dial in the ergonomics of the bike with our accessory seat offerings. We offer both a low and a tall seat to really allow this bike to fit a wide range of individuals. Now, I said the fairing is not necessarily just for sportiness, but what it does do is offer quite a bit of weather protection and also does aid the aerodynamics of the vehicle as well. That's really important for those of you who are gonna do a bit more highway commuting and looking to maximize your range potential on the vehicle. The SRS for 2024 is powered by our class-leading 17.3 kilowatt-hour power pack. Now, this power pack is going to have a standard rating to 100% state of charge of 15.6 kilowatts. And one of the Cypher features that comes standard on the SRS is our extended range charging, which allows you to select through the main dash on the vehicle the extended range prior to charging, and would allow you to actually charge to what will show as 110% state of charge on the dash itself, giving you the maximum range on the vehicle. Average ranges are going to be in city for those who are usually using the bike for commuting, right around 185 to 190 miles. Now, combined use, doing some highway, but a good amount of stop and go city, is gonna bring you in right around 120 to 125 miles real world range. Of course, with that, you're gonna wanna know your charge times, and typically when you're plugging into a level 2 charger, dependent on, of course, the output of the charger you're plugged into, as well as the temperature of the day, you're going to be looking at around a 2-hour charge time to 95%, or if you want to do the extended range charging and take it to a full 110% at the 17.3 kilowatt capacity, you're looking at around 2.7 hours with the charging that's built into the bike. The charger on the bike is rated at 6.6 kilowatts. So it's important when you're plugged into a charge station, or if you have a level 2 charge station at your home, that you understand some of the limiting factor is not the vehicle itself, but rather the infrastructure you're plugged into. Both the base infrastructure into that level 2 charger, as well as the level 2 charger's output capacity as well. Of course, many of you may not have a level 2 charger at home and do not need the entire range that's available on this motorcycle. With the standard cord that comes with the vehicle, you can simply plug into your standard outlet at home, even on a 120 volt system, and charge the vehicle overnight without issue. Just like with charging being affected by ambient temperature and the battery temperature, you'll find the same is true with range. In cold weather, you can expect to get a bit less range, and in warmer weather, you actually may see a bit more range. All of our range is based on 70 degrees Fahrenheit average temperature. And it's also going to be based in running in our standard eco mode, which means we have a lot of regen. We're recapturing as much kinetic energy as possible and putting that back into the power pack. So make sure that you pay attention to those things when you're thinking about your use case and how you would use the SRS. Just as impressive as the 17.3 class-leading power pack is our Z-Force 75-10 motor, putting out 110 horsepower and 140 foot-pounds of torque. Now, it's important that we drive that all down to the rear wheel so that you get to enjoy that power, and we do that through a Gates carbon belt drive system. So this vehicle is direct drive. There is no clutch. there is no shifting. You simply have throttle and brake. The amount of power you put down is going to be dependent on the ride mode that you're in or the custom ride modes that you can program yourself through the Zero Motorcycles Next Gen app, giving you complete control over your horsepower and torque settings, as well as the amount of regen that you are going to generate with coasting and with application of the brake to put power back into the pack and ultimately extend your ride. So having that much power capacity and putting that much power to the ground is really exciting, but it's also important about how we control that power. And a big part of that is going to be in the combination of tire, suspension, and brakes that we've selected for the SRS. So from the tire side of things, we're using Pirelli Rosso 3 tires. Very sticky, great both dry and wet weather performance, and really, really reliable tire for feedback. Suspension is all handled by Showa. So up front, we've got the big piston fork with fully adjustable preload, rebound, and compression damping. We see the same from them in the rear with the preload, compression, and rebound damping available to be fully adjusted by you, the rider. Braking is by Jaehwan. And up front, we've got dual radial mounted calipers as well as a radial mounted master cylinder for maximum feel. Of course, one of the really neat features of the SRS is that in order to meter out that power delivery and the braking and maximize the safety, we have also partnered with Bosch on their MSC Motorcycle Stability Control System. And this is the most advanced version of that system, which offers lean sensitive ABS and traction control. One of the most exciting parts of the Bosch MSC system on a Zero motorcycle is the fact that the brains of our motorcycle are able to talk with the Bosch MSC system at a much faster rate than what we see on our internal combustion competitors using a similar system, meaning our system is more reactive and able to have a less intrusive intervention when it is using the traction control or ABS to make sure that you're staying safe on the road. Now, the traction control and ABS settings are adjustable. You can choose to switch the different modes in both ABS and traction control, or turn them off completely if you so choose. However, those settings will reset per ride mode back to their factory default for safety's sake anytime that you key off the vehicle. When you create custom ride modes via the motorcycle's Next Gen app interface, you also can set what your preference is for the ABS and traction control for that custom ride mode. Before we jump into the details of the dash and the controls of the motorcycle, let's take a look at a couple other really neat features. Number one being the fact that this bike features full LED headlights and taillights. When you need to charge the vehicle, the charging port is really easy to access with a simple pull of the cover right in front of the rider's seat. Now, of course, in our tank area here, we're not storing gas, so we've got some space for you with a locking compartment that opens to expose 2 USB charge ports for you to be able to keep your phone charged or run a GPS while you're on the road. More importantly is the fact that it's a decent sized storage that'll fit more than your gloves. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this space will fit upwards of 15 plus burritos. Let's take a deeper dive into the dash and controls on the SRS. We switch the key on using the ignition. The bike's going to wake up and bring us to our main screen. Now there's quite a few things that we can change on the dash itself. First off, using the mode button on the left-hand switch cube, we can press it to the left to activate the heated grips and cycle through by pushing the mode button left or right, the temperature settings to all 3 settings, and simply pushing the mode button in again to set that temperature. If we press the mode button in, we can change ride modes. You hold until the ride mode starts flashing on the dash, and then you can cycle left or right to the ride mode that you want to select, and then press the mode button in again to make the selection. And the dash will now show the new ride mode. You can change ride modes on the fly while you're riding down the road as long as you close the throttle in order to make that final selection into the ride mode itself. It will then set and stay for you, including when you key cycle the bike the next time. If you want to change the traction control or ABS, you simply push the mode button to the right until it starts flashing, and then you're able to change that setting on the dash and select the new setting that you'd like to have. On the left-hand switch cube, we also have your high-low beam switch, turn signal, and horn. On the right-hand side, you have your run-stop switch, as well as the cruise control button. Now there's a few other cool things you can do with the dash. If you have your run-stop switch in the off position or the side stand down, you can push the mode button to access the bike's main menu. This is where you'll be able to access features like parking mode. Simply pushing the mode button in again puts me in parking mode, and the dash tells me to turn the run stop switch into the on position. Now I am in a slow speed controlled reverse, and I can use the cruise control button to change to a slow speed controlled forward. To cycle out of park mode, I simply toggle the run stop switch, and now we're ready to ride again. Equally important, anytime you want to access the entire capacity of the power pack on board, the full 17.3 kilowatt hours, you will go to the bike main menu, toggle down to extended range charging, and select it. The check mark indicates that you have now selected extended range charging. So the next time you plug in the vehicle to charge, it will now charge to what will show as 110% SOC on the dash. As you can see, the 2024 SRS is an incredibly exciting motorcycle. Make sure and take one out for a ride as soon as you get the opportunity. And for more information, visit zeromotorcycles.com. Happy riding.